Hi everyone, I'm Anushka Banerjee. So I live in California and I recently had the opportunity to audition for American Idol, which is a famous reality show. So to start off, the year is 2020 with all the coronavirus and everything, we actually didn't get to go audition in person. So my home city is San Francisco, so if things were normal right now, I'd be going over there, I'd be waiting in line for who knows how many hours, and I finally get to stand up and sing on the stage. But because of the coronavirus and all the CDC guidelines, we were actually supposed to audition from our own home. So luckily, we didn't have to stand in line for hours. We were able to just open up Zoom and audition from there. So I actually had a lot of technical difficulties, as this was actually my first time auditioning for an American reality show, as well as just using the computer to do it. So it was actually really hard because when I first opened up Zoom, so the first thing that happens is the meeting host, which is one of the producers for American Idol, has to let you in, and there's hundreds of people auditioning at the same time as you, so you kind of have to wait for a bit before you get into the meeting. So I opened up my computer, I logged in, and I tried to get into the meeting. I waited about 5 minutes before I was let in. The producer was actually talking at the time about coronavirus and Kelly Clarkson's anniversary of winning American Idol about 18 years ago was actually today. So he was talking about that. I was actually using the time to practice my song, but unfortunately my computer crashed and Zoom crashed along with it. And I had to restart Zoom, which was really nerve-wracking for me because I had to wait for another 6 minutes before I was able to get back into the meeting, but luckily I was before my audition. And the whole thing, so how this works is basically this, so there's hundreds of people in the Zoom meeting, and you're basically put into breakout rooms with one of the producers. So after about half an hour of waiting, it's around 6:30, my audition time was 6, I get put into a breakout room with the producer, and I'm all ready to go. Everything's all good. I'm playing my track and we just start talking for a bit before I start my song. So the song I did was My Heart Will Go On from the movie Titanic. And I basically had my track ready and I started singing. About 10 seconds in, I got a call on my phone, which is really annoying because that's not really something that was expected. But luckily I was able to get past that, and within a second the call actually went away and I was able to just get back to my song. I just pretended nothing happened because you shouldn't really be calling out attention to your mistakes. So yeah, I went on and I finished the song. And at the end, I asked the producer if he had any feedback for me, and he said the only feedback he had was to just get more practice, performing in front of groups of people, which I thought was pretty constructive advice. But yeah, so that was my experience with American Idol. We'll get to know in about a week or two whether we actually make it to the second round of auditions. I'm honestly not sure how that's going to turn out considering my, technical difficulties, but I'm really excited to see what happens. So some tips for all of you if you're considering auditioning in the future. The number one tip I would give you is that make sure that you don't have technical difficulties. Do whatever you need to do, practice beforehand as if you're auditioning, with Zoom and everything. Maybe set up a Zoom call with a friend and have them pretend that they're the producer, and make sure that your speakers are working. If you're using a mic, make sure that's working. If you're using a musical instrument, make sure it's tuned and ready to go. So for me, I was using my phone to play a track, so I guess tips I would give past me is to make sure that my phone was on airplane mode, because I had my track downloaded, but since I got the call, if I had airplane mode on, we wouldn't have had that problem. The second tip I would give people is just remember that this is for fun. I mean, obviously if you make it into the second round, that's amazing, but just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just remember that whatever is meant to be will happen, and that it's okay if you don't make it. There's always next time. And the third and final tip that I would give you guys is to just do your best. Make sure you practice beforehand and make sure that you're really putting your 110% effort out there. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about my experience.